I'm dying here, man. You hit me with the phone, dick. So good.
Oh my god. So I guess we're talking about Scream first.
Sure, why not? All right, whenever you're ready.
That's the intro right there. That's the intro.
Right.
That's the intro for Media Man Online with Jeremy and Dan.
What's up? So I've seen 2 Scream movies in the past 36 hours. This one was much better. Spoilers ahead for Scream 1, 1996, because apparently they wanted to call Scream 5 Scream as well. This is like a new thing they're doing in Hollywood, which is really, just call it Scream 5. We know it's a continuation. The entire movie is continuation. Anyways.
Yeah. Why not, like, they can just call it like the Screaming or something if they want to be.
Yeah.
I guess putting the
Shriek.
5 on it makes it less likely to, I don't know. Because like I guess like all the many movie sequels have been just awful lately. They're like, maybe if we don't tell them there's been 3 others, the people that like Scream 1 will watch this one. Because like if you saw if you didn't know that like there was like 27 Saw movies. Saw. Oh, I liked Saw. They got a sequel. Let's go see it. Oh no, what is this? What the fuck is Chris Rock doing?
Yeah. What's with these 2 gay guys?
So this movie opens up, and we're gonna need to explain what a landline is to the listeners.
Yes.
It used to be that you couldn't just like turn off your phone; you had to unplug that shit. Just like block a number either.
And in order to tell who was calling, you had to wait for it to stop and then hit star 69, star 69 420, no scope.
Did that work in the 90s though?
Pretty sure.
I didn't find about star 69 until the mid aughts. Honestly, I didn't realize it was a thing before then. You know, that movie would have been a lot shorter if they just star 69.
Yeah.
Who is this? I don't know. Who am I? Well, I mean, fuck you. Hang up star 69.
You know, there's a funny bit.
And then it happens like 7-Eleven. You piece of shit.
There's a funny bit in Scream 2 where they're pranking Sydney, and she's like, "Oh, hey Dave, I have my caller ID right here." A year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a new killer who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson.
So is this the first movie that made you think girls go after like creepy assholes?
Yeah, probably.
The guy's like, "Why won't you let me put it in you?" She's like, "Oh, stop it." Oh my god, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. Like, I love you.
He's definitely not the killer. He's like sharpening his knife over in the corner.
This tastes like copper, my favorite flavor. She does some Jiffy Pop wrong. You think Jiffy Pop paid for the product placement on this?
Probably.
So she's getting creepy phone calls, doing some Jiffy Pop. When the first call is creepy, then he calls back and she's like, "I like the cut of his jib. Let me flirt with him."
Yeah, let me pretend I don't have a boyfriend and we'll chat a little bit further. I want to know who I'm looking at. Well, what'd you say? You're so silly. This is like one of the most classic things, especially because Drew Barrymore, she wasn't quite a star at this point, but she was in E.T. and a few other things, and she was a pretty well-known, actress, and she dies instantly, like in the most horrible way possible. But what's your favorite scary movie, and would you like to play a game? Or also, do you like scary movies? Those are like the 3 most iconic things about this opening. Originally, Scream was supposed to be titled Scary Movie. It was going to be more spoofy than it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see, because like there are parts where they had to edit out the spoofing part.
Yes.
Like when they went 4 layers of meta.
Yeah. They did everything but like look directly into your eyes.
They're watching, a guy is watching movies saying, "Look behind you," while the killer's behind him. And someone else is watching him on a secret camera saying, "Look behind him." But then it turns out the killer was behind him.
And also, he's on the couch saying, "Jamie, look behind you." And that's the name of the actor sitting on the couch.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's so good. So they ended up making another movie, a spoof of this spoof called Scary Movie. And that's where the "waza" came from. So it all spawned from that.
My next note in this is This killer is omniscient when off screen, but he's like a bad video game AI when on screen. Like she has like a panic attack, tries to dial the phone, and he's still like looking under the sink for her.
I think at that point, I think we're just now. This is me because I've seen this movie a dozen times, but I think that he was just doing that, like running back and forth while the kitchen's on fire, just to fuck with her because there were two killers there. The Scream voice is done by Roger Jackson, by the way. Awesome. I don't know if he died or they just didn't want to pay him, but Scream 5 did not have this.
Huh. Yeah, the Scream voice was probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I spent most of it very bored.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It's supposed to be a scary movie, but it makes fun of the concept of scary movies. Like they spend probably 5 minutes total with the guy with one hand through a door, like waving the knife around. Yeah, I'm gonna get like because I mean when he's on screen, he behaves like a Left 4 Dead zombie, or more like a The Walking Dead zombie, maybe. I don't know. Some sort of zombie. But then off screen, he's like teleporting and playing 17D chess with his 5-head, like, oh, I'll tell her to go get the beer, and then you wait there. And she just won't look around at all. Like, was he like the garage scene? Was he like duct taped to the ceiling or some shit? Like, she looked around the room, walked to the garage door, and he's behind her.
He was just in amongst all the rubble in the garage.
This movie is what inspired like all the teleporting in Dragon Ball Z.
And Halloween inspired this.
And also Looney Tunes. Also, it inspired Looney Tunes. And what are we looking at, Doc?
So I think that every time they're fucking with Sydney and like he's swiping through the door when he's caught. So they go after Sydney after Casey Becker, and he's like, she's got like this double the closet door opening locks behind the bedroom door opening, so it can't open if the closet door is open, which is poor house design, but kind of worked out in this case. And I think they're just fucking with him. I got to give Billy time to climb up the side of the house to get in the window, so because that was pretty quick. Does blonde chick wear a bra in this whole movie? That's my question to you.
Yeah, it's a wonder bra, because I mean those things are up and out.
Oh yeah, she's really getting it going here. And your favorite thing? I
give her a 7 out of 9 for
for hard nips. Your favorite thing happens in this movie. Billy, who is the main antagonist here, he is 26 during this movie, and playing a 17-year-old, and Sydney is 23. So I know that's your favorite thing when adults play teenagers. Would your school, if this happened while you were in school, 2 people got not only murdered, not like they got ran over by a car or something.
Yeah,
like
they got slaughtered.
Yeah. Would your school be open the next day? Because mine wouldn't have been.
I don't know, because like everything happened at home, so I feel like having a curfew is like the opposite of effect. Like they talk about the curfew a lot, but like the cops never actually stop anyone. Like they're having that big party, everyone's just showing up and then driving away, and the curfew is a non-event. Like,
and there's literally a deputy there.
School closing is a non-event because nothing happens until night, and then the curfew is a non-event because there is no impact of the curfew. It doesn't stop the Scream guy from running around with his robe. And how are they getting around town with that robe anyway? Like, they don't have like a backpack.
That motherfucker was in the bushes in broad daylight spying on the 2 girls. Nobody notices.
My favorite part is like after the multiple people are knifed to death in a small town, they show people leaving for curfew with a woman and a toddler like finishing up a picnic in the park. There's no way.
I do like, there's a moment in this movie where the blonde chick asks Sydney, who would play you in a movie? And Sydney's like, oh, I shudder to think. And Dewey's response is Meg Ryan. And Sydney's like, oh, with my luck, they'd cast Tori Spelling. Another funny thing from the second movie is they make, oh God, you would love the second movie. It's so much deeper, just meta shit. Because the second movie, there is a creation of the events of the first movie, and they make a movie out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the In the second movie, there's a movie called Stab in the theaters that's based on the events of Scream 1, and Tori Spelling is cast as Sydney.
I don't
Did
know
your
who.
brain just pop? Oh, Tori Spelling's like one of those 90210 or whatever. I'm gonna look it up because I don't know what the fuck she's from.
I never
Tori
watched
Spelling.
90210, so I'm not gonna recognize that.
Me neither. I know the name and I've seen her and shit. Oh, she was in 90210. Fucking nailed that. Mm-hmm.
The movie, I thought the movie was like, oh god, this is so dumb. Obviously, the boyfriend is the killer, and then like they're in the same place, and so I'm like, oh, it's not him. And then like they had the fake death. I'm like, oh yeah, it is him. So they did fool me for about how long is it between the killer coming up behind him and him getting stabbed? Yeah, so they fooled me for 5 seconds. So good job there. And I feel like everything else is by the numbers.
Yeah, it's just a classic whodunit, but instead of it being, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Billy was the killer, but we didn't know there were two killers.
Like, you know how sometimes like you watch like a fight scene and it's like so bad you kind of lose interest in the action from then on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to me in horror movies when the killer just teleports or knows that you're going to turn left and stand behind the hat rack or whatever. I'm just like, okay, things are gonna happen until the plot's over.
Does it make more sense that there are two of them for you? They don't do any teleporting. There's just two.
No, in the garage they do teleport. The guy teleports in the garage. Also, one of the killers had an alibi for one of the times, didn't he?
Yeah, because Billy gets arrested during the first attack on Sydney, and he's in custody when they call Sydney at Dewey's house. But that's just because Stu is calling.
Yeah, so I mean, he was doing all the regular, like, I know if you're going to turn left or right when the guy was in prison anyway.
I'm trying to think if there was any, I don't know if there was any action at all because he only spends the night in jail.
So do you think that he dropped the cell phone to show her he had a cell phone on purpose?
Yep. Dropped it on purpose. And
he wanted to go to jail to be suspected. And so his whole plan was to make her feel guilty for putting him in prison so he could get laid.
Yep.
Okay.
And also to clear his name.
I mean, he only kept his name clear for like a second and a half, and then she like came back. Like they could have done the whole thing without him going to jail if they just didn't want her to be fooled for about 12 scenes.
Right. A lot of it was just to fuck with her mind. Right.
Yeah.
Because then the guy she loses her virginity to is the guy that killed her mother. Like, it's a whole just mind fuck. That's why when they first attack her at the house, he just toys with her. He doesn't kill her. And there's a couple other situations, like when she's in the SUV, he could have killed her right there. But, it makes sense.
I mean, the movie doesn't really try to fool you, though. Like, they don't shoot the murder of Billy the same way they shoot everything else. Yeah,
but I mean, even so, at that point, you see the killer. You still don't know that there are two. Still, even to that point.
Yeah. Oh, and back to the garage scene. Do you think that whole thing was a commercial for just how powerful that garage door motor is?
Oh my God.
Like it lifts a chick up and like breaks her neck, which is hard to do.
Yeah. Like you're going to have some pretty mean torque on that. It like crushes her because all of that power, like if it was going super fast and kind of just broke her neck, sure, but it's going so slow, so it has to have the power to like crunch her neck, and it like smushed her face too.
Yeah, and then like the entire house empties and no one sees the dead body dangling from the garage door.
In the spoof of this movie, I won't harp too far on that. Maybe we'll. But anyways, they have like a super heavy chick in that spot. And it tries to lift her, and the whole thing breaks down and kills her. The whole garage collapses.
I see. My next note is, yes, the completely silent car door, famously unhearable even when you're listening for a car door to open.
What is that from?
She's in the car, and like the guy shows that he has the keys to the car, and then he like dives down.
Yeah, and he keeps
that car
unlocking
is way too low to the ground to crawl around under. And then like he just opens the car door and she doesn't notice at all.
Like the back latch, right?
Yeah,
he
it's
opens
like
the latch in the back.
How do you not notice when the entire back end of the car is open? That's the fucking hatchback.
Why after Billy kills, because he's the one that kills Tatum, that's the friend that gets killed in the garage door. After he pops up and it's Stu and Sydney just standing in the hallway, he goes, Rah! Like, did you notice that? Why he pops towards the front door and does that?
Oh, they were just doing a spoof of Kramer from Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was.
Jerry,
Yeah. Rah!
I'm not dead.
Why are you coming in here so hard? That's what would have happened if that was our house party, bro. You need to fucking take a fucking pill or something, because who pops
So do
in
you
like
think
that?
so I think when the girls fight off the killers, they're just letting it happen because like they wanna just like drag it out a little bit more. So when she comes out of the closet, he's like, I'm gonna let her almost stab me for a while, and then I'll get her.
When she comes out of the closet?
Yeah, because she puts on that fucking costume.
Oh yeah. No,
And
I
like
think
the
that
guy
part
on the
was-
phone doesn't hear her putting the costume on. Like, I'm definitely not wearing a mask now.
Yeah, did you really call the police? Stu and Dewey are the comic relief here. They're stabbing each other to make it look like they survived an attack. And Billy's just cutting Stu up, just fucking going nuts on him.
Yeah, I was
So-
pretty sure that Billy was planning to kill Stu. Like, I thought there's no way they both lived through this. You know, for all their, flawless planning where literally nothing doesn't go the way they plan, like not one chick figures out how to unlock a door. Not one person not one person notices, a guy in a black costume, a guy with a white mask running around at night.
Yeah, and at one point they see him in the reflection in a fucking grocery store. I don't know if you caught that or not. When they're in the store after curfew, they fucking see
No,
him.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
Like everything goes to plan, but then they just stab each other while she's still alive.
So there's one point I wanted to bring up to you, which doesn't make any sense to me. Well, obviously.
There's only one part in this movie that doesn't make sense.
Yes. Sydney and Billy just bang. And she goes, "Oh, who do you call when you were in jail for the night?" Which doesn't make any sense because we clearly know he has an accomplice. But why did he seem so guilty? Because there's no way he had the little device, the voice-changing device.
You don't think he went into prison and made the phone call in the police department?
Yeah, so why was that? Like, I get that she was curious about that, but why was he seem so guilty about it?
I think he looked guilty because he called his partner and maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and the partner knows that Sydney is at Dewey and Tatum's house because he's dating Tatum. She's probably like, "Oh, Sydney's staying over tonight." So
Yeah, because you're right. Was the guy who went to jail, his girlfriend sent him there. The other guy who's dating Tits McGee.
yeah,
Was she with him that night?
no,
I would have sworn he had like some sort of alibi because he showed up to
yes,
to prove the other guy right. So I don't know why I thought. I wonder where she was at that night because because they were hanging out with Officer Mustache. I gotta say, really good job by the cop to like play like a put upon little brother or whatever. Oh, older brother. I don't know why he's so
Older,
weird,
yeah.
man. Like,
Yeah.
Mom said you gotta treat me right. and then later he just goes and talks to the chief of police about the fucking strawberry ice cream cone.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's right. And then the chief says, keep an eye on them. He just drives into a fucking party.
There's
I was so sure he was going to die while banging the reporter.
that'd be a good way to go.
I was like 10-1. He's going to be like, they're going to bend at the knees or whatever and go off screen. And then it's going to be, she's going to see the guy over his shoulder. He's going to get stabbed and she's going to run away. No, I think he gets stabbed and just lays there and then he's fine afterwards.
He gets stabbed in every single Scream movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way he preserves and protects, he deserves to get stabbed. Like, hey, we don't have a suspect, so let's go and see if any of these guys want to kill you.
When after Billy gets stabbed by Stu, stabbed in quotes, and he falls down the stairs, those stairs are fucking wooden. That could have gone anyway. Like, he does an acting job before she realizes it's him and does a tumble down the stairs. It's like that dude could have snapped his neck on those old ass wooden stairs, and this would have been a completely different movie. I love when Stu is on the phone with Sydney and he's like crying, The plan went tits up and he's worried about his parents being upset, not about prison or anything or death. She's like, "Oh, Stu, what's your motive?" Peer pressure. I'm very sensitive. And Billy's in the background, like cutting up pillows and like, "You bitch, I'm gonna fucking kill you." It's just the contrast between the two is fucking great.
So do you think they were acting then like, oh, yes, we planned on her stealing the phone? And
No.
So when these two 700 IQ guys with a crystal ball, when they leave the cell phone unattended with the completely uninjured chick not tied up, she was missing. He decides to check and see if she's inside a couch cushion. Are you sure he's not looking for cocaine? Because that's where you hide cocaine, not where you hide from a psycho.
It would have been impressive if she was actually in one of the couch cushions. It's like, oh, how'd you find me? Stu dies by her dumping a mid-90s TV on his skull. That's very plausible. Those things. Did you ever move with one of those things?
Oh yeah, I had I think I had a 35-inch tube television.
Oh yeah, it weighed at least 400 pounds.
So that thing was so big, it did not fit in the trunk of my car or the back seat of my car. It would only fit in the fronts. It didn't fit in the back seat of the trunk. It had to. The only place it would fit was in the passenger seat of my car. So then I put the seatbelt on it. It was literally bigger than the back door to my car, and it was deeper than my trunk was deep, which was like a late 90s Ford, so not a lot of trunk space. You could have put it in a hatchback, but yeah, that TV was the second biggest tube television I've ever seen. The biggest one was insane and should not have been allowed on anything.
Yeah, and she fucking dumps that shit right on his head and just end of story. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, the Parkinson's movies that are good, I mean, are well done, but like, I don't know, for me, the pacing of it was really slow. It wasn't scary or funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was scrunny.
New word alert.
I was just like, it's so by the numbers that like, I didn't really care about any of the characters enough to listen to them talk and want to listen to them talk. And I kind of felt like I was checking out for the action and the dialogue.
I love this movie. It's legitimately, it is my favorite horror movie, and I can't think of anything that contends with it. I absolutely love it. I saw it as a kid. This movie came out in 1996, and it's so good. Maybe a bit of nostalgia, but probably not. I watch it quite often, and it's phenomenal. So we have 317,000 ratings on IMDb for a 7.3 out of 10. I know you're not much of a horror guy. Listeners, keep that in mind before you hear this. But go ahead.
I don't know, like a 5 out of 10. It's not like bad. I mean, maybe in 1992 it was setting up what horror movies will become. Mm-hmm. Like maybe in like if you watch the original Star Wars now, it's not great because all the movies have improved. But if you watch like another action movie from that year, like Star Wars was amazing by comparison.
But if I compare Star Wars to what we're about to talk about, Star Wars is still better. So I'm gonna give it's a 10. This movie came out during a time, like, I'm a big horror movie guy, as you know, and it came out during a time of a lull in horror movie period. There was like the 70s and 80s with Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. And then this point, there had been a significant decline. And Wes Craven is the writer. I don't know if you noticed, before Henry Winkler's killed, there's a dude dressed up like Freddy Krueger mopping the floor.
Oh, no, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's got a red and green Christmas sweater or whatever. There's actually a character in Scream 5 called Wes in his honor because he has passed since. But yeah, if you like horror movies, you've probably already seen this, so there's nothing else I can recommend.